hold this defense accountable. High standards is what he will expect. They'll play with energy. He has fire. Gary is chill in terms of his approach to the game, and I really like this marriage.
A song of ice and fire for Syracuse. Pietramala tasked with revamping a defense that struggled mightily at times a season ago. There is Gary Gait. He's still got the full suit on, a staple of his wardrobe when he coached on the women's side. Somewhat jarring to see Dave Pietramala in orange and blue. Bobby Gavin, number 88, will be the starting goalie for Syracuse. Heated competition leading up to this game between Gavin, the Virginia transfer, and Harrison Thompson, a redshirt sophomore out of New Jersey. On the other side for Holy Cross, it'll be A.J. Fox in goal. Last year, when these two met, well, I guess it might be Dawson Friars coming in. We thought it would be A.J. Fox, who had 18 saves against Syracuse last year, but Kark, it looks like Friars will get the start.
Well, that's a big spot for Friars because, like you said, we thought it'd be Fox. Fox had the 18 saves, faced 60 shots in the dome. He was the bright spot, and when you think about a goalie in the dome, a lot of times you want to go back to the experienced player. It's not an easy place to play with the lighting, the crowd. This is a big move, I think, for J.L. Reppert not to go with Fox.
The Gary Gait era about to begin. The shots were volume shots, and they weren't necessarily good shots. They want to get back to taking smarter shots. A chance for Syracuse in transition. Berkman feeding in front, a shot and a score. Pete Fiorini, the junior.
Fiorini was an Under Armour All-American, a big recruit, and had trouble finding some minutes early in his career, but he's from upstate New York, a Baldwinville kid, grew up in the shadows of the dome, and Berkman, the Florida product, with his head up and catches a streaking
10 and white on those face-off wings. The Cuse loses maybe the best short stick D-midi in the country in Peter Dirth. There's Brendan Curry off the pipe and in. He may not.
He just tags this corner, Anish. Curry's the most versatile player on the Syracuse team. He won't leave the field. He can play up and down, defense, lightning speed, and this is just my feet are quicker than your feet. You can't catch me. He blazes down the alley and sticks.
A freshman. We'll see some new faces in that midfield. Big strength the last few years. Brendan Curry with his second. The three-time All-American. The
skills in the kitchen, but his skills as a midfielder right now. Word on the street is he dominated the Loyola scrimmage a week ago. He's playing at a different level. And the speed of Curry. A lot of guys are shifty guys. Will be 1-2.
Ground by Syracuse. Transition opportunity. Sam Alexo to Seabold. 4-0 Cuse.
He's smiling. Take a page out of the old school run and gun. Cuse lacrosse. Sam Alexo, the long pole, has the green light to run the full field. And Seabold showed that last year. He showed you he has some range. If you don't get up and play his hands, he will snipe. And there were two things on that play. Yeah, I also think he just gives an added dimension on plays like that. We talk about Brendan Curry, Anish, being is that strider. Dordovic gives you a dodging presence from behind the cage. You watch here, it's just that quick little hesitation. He beats his defender on the first step. And you see the awareness around goal line extended. As a midfielder, I feel like when you have a guy like Owen Hiltz out there, his off-ball play and his passing ability were next level as a freshman.
Syracuse can't miss. It is 6-0 Orange.
Of Curry's goals, you've heard the pipe. That tells you about the accuracy. If you're not going to step up and play him, he's playing on a different level. He's absolutely hammering corners right now. Wow. Injured. Doesn't say, though, that these guys can't step up and have great seasons. There's a lot of just young guys.
How about the feed and Mikey Berkman with the first goal? He would have done well.
Yeah, and he was a fantastic player in Florida in high school. That is a beautiful pass. Unbelievable pass by Fiorini. We've seen Fiorini now cutting as a midfielder and then slicing the defense with that pass too. Quick little look away, and Berkman had monster.
You got Oregon, Texas, and Florida on attack at Syracuse. Unheard of, but here we are. And Owen Siebold, Dallas, Texas. You could not have drawn up a better start for Gary Gait.
Yeah, we've seen some dodging and we've seen some spot shooting from Curry and Siebold. Siebold's showing you range. Earlier, stung one from the point on a fast break. This one on the low right wing.
5 seconds. There's Curry, a first quarter hat trick already. Shoots and scores! An absolute Hadouken from Brendan Curry. 4 in the
last year. Now, in all due respect, Dawson Friars might be out playing A.J. Fox every day in practice. But A.J. Fox had experience and he played brilliant last year in the Dome. And Friars got thrown into the mix.
Right on the doorstep and a slam dunk for Siebold.
He's a freshman, saw him play in high school, played on that Team 91 team coached by Joe Spallina. Cordes is one of those guys, you look at his ability to play off ball, really, really good in terms of identifying.
Dinano trying to work around Brett Kennedy, and Dean Dinano gets Holy Cross on the board.
Dodge, look where Bobby Gavin is, right? Bobby Gavin bites low. Dinano just drops his left foot and then turns and understands that Bobby Gavin bites and thinks Dinano's shooting low, and then he sticks it high. That is really...
Pietro still working his way back from the torn ACL he suffered last year. Another goal for Syracuse. Curry assisted on that one.
Brendan Curry has the 4 goals in the first quarter. Now they're putting a long stick on him every time, which they should. He had some short stick matchups in the first quarter, but they're also going to hedge and make sure they can support his speed, dodging ability. With that said, then you're softer on the wings. And when you're softer on the...
He was the head coach at Johns Hopkins, wasn't coaching last year. He feels he has something to prove. And so does a team that, frankly, has not really had much success. Owen Siebold with his doing. Well, this is a team that's got 5 years since winning the playoff game.
Well, they've got life. They've got energy. And when you talk to people around the program, they love playing for Gary Gait and Dave Petramala. And you're going to get their best shot. And they're probably sick and tired of hearing, like, do we have the talent to make a run? And there's good players.
But Maryland comes to the Dome the following week. Then you go to Virginia, who Syracuse did beat twice last year. Then a very good Army team comes to the Dome on March 2nd. We did that game last year. Army absolutely throttled Syracuse. Jace Lambert, 3.
He throttles the top shelf. Some of the shooting on display today from Syracuse and then Jace Lambert has been spectacular. Look at the accuracy there. I mean, to step up, defensive pressure coming up. Too late there on the rotation from Kennedy, and that is the guy. Networking opportunities. So I think the sell will be easier when JL has some time.
The onslaught continues.
Boys, they're cooking it. Look at the speed too. This is ridiculous. His straight line speed is so good that the entire Holy Cross defense, where are their heads and their eyes? Right on Curry, because they know they need to support them.
Don't you have to get into his hands a little quicker?
Yeah, you know, that's the type of guy when you're adjacent, you need to actually meet him. Wow.
Matteo Corsi, his first
summer when I watched him play in an all-star game, and I was really impressed with his quickness. He's a player from the state of Michigan, loved the sport of lacrosse so much, headed down to IMG. See that little fake too? That little fake there.
Brett Tenaglia, Furman transfer. He was the Paladins' leading scorer as a true freshman in 2020. After COVID X'd the season, Furman shuttered its program, and Tenaglia did not play last year due to injury. Transferred to Syracuse. The Orange strike again.
Picked up, and we don't know their timetable. Young guys like Corsi and Matt Mangan, who doesn't have a ton of experience, are going to get opportunities to shine. This is a really nice initial dodge by Johnny Cohn, another freshman, to Mangan, who's been part of the program for a few years, but
15 goals in this first half for Syracuse. Looking for 16, they get it. It's Dordovic.
This is loving it. And when you have two scrimmages, and from all accounts, one went well, one didn't. They scrimmaged Michigan, they scrimmaged Loyola. I was anxious to see what type of Cuse would come out in their first official game with Gary Gates.
Yeah, we're going to see Bubba Fairman as a D-midi this year. That tells you how deep they are.
Exactly.
It's a complete team. Clark, for my money, John Tillman's the best coach in the country. A lot is made of Maryland's failures on Championship Monday. I think before it's all said and done, John Tillman's going to have at least 3 or 4 national titles. Here's Damio Latamoye. Over to Seabold. Top shelf. 17-2.
Position, and Dami knows how to play the full field. Well, the common denominator, share the ball. The head fake by Seabold. Watch Seabold's head. It dips low, and then he releases it high right here. Watch. He makes the move, dips his head low, and that gets Fox to think he's shooting low. Fox's stick is
speedy freshman off the wing. You can see that burst. Rice over to Seabold. Dordovic. BTB!
Oh! That's right.
For Tucker Dordovic.
Arrogate. You didn't get pulled for that shot with John Desko either. Coach Desko with an incredible career, 5 national titles. Gary Gates in town now. 5th coach in program history in over 100 years. Well, what does that tell you? Consistency in terms of creativity. Dordovic's losing his angle there, and the righty behind Pat Cavanaugh at Notre Dame doing some ridiculous things. The game didn't look like that before Gary Gate.
He was an evolutionary catalyst for the sport. Mikey Berkman tallies another. Assists in the Sunshine State, and the Cuse is at 19 in the first half.
Wow. And Mikey Berkman was one of those unknowns, right? We were talking about guys in the lineup that we haven't seen in game.
In round 1, the wheels came off completely.
And I will tell you, in the second half, when you're playing defense as Holy Cross gets their 3rd, Coach Petramalo will be all over these guys in the stand. The second half, what kind of energy, what kind of resolve, what kind of toughness does Holy Cross have? Are they just going to lay down and let Syracuse walk all over them, or are they going to fight? And if you know JL Reppert, you know they're going to fight. Magalotti has a nice cut and finish than it has been. I'll say the depth in Division I obviously is much more apparent, but there's unbelievable talent in Division III. There always has been. I just think there's more.
Another goal by the Cuse. Tyler.
You know, Cordes had a great lefty feed in the first half. This time now he shows you his shooting ability. 29 in white, the freshman from Long Island. That is
for a big sophomore season. Arm in a sling. He's going to be out for a while. Dordovic from the right wing. Another for Tucker Dordovic. That's 5.
From the shooters at Syracuse today has been on display. Curry has hit corners with pipe noises 4 times. Dordovic with a couple. Look at the placement on this. Like, just hugging the pipe after this year.
Here comes Savage. He's greedy. 22-3. Jack Savage. First career goal for the faceoff man.
Tucker Dordovic out of Portland. Well, Jack Savage is out of Portland too. Wins the face, takes it himself. Holy Cross is not playing Jack Savage as a shooter. They play the shooters tight on the attack wings, daring him to come down the middle. And he makes, and the bad news is they're both really good recruiters, different kinds of recruiters. You know, Bobby Benson, I think, whoa, Tenaglia with another snipe. They are hammering the corners. And when you think of Dawson Friars and A.J. Fox, like, what are they supposed to do here? This is on a righty goalie. You look at the placement, just absolutely tags that opposite corner. Gavin was tested enough to just not allow Harrison Thompson to still have a say in this goalie battle.
And Ferris, the bouncer. It is 24-3, a field goal tacked on to the 3 touchdowns.
He converted attack and playing in the midfield with a lot of opportunities to shine. Him and his mates are absolutely crushing it offensively. It's been all Cuse. Not going to be easy.
Nice play there by Michael Page, the LSM in the passing lane. Syracuse, meanwhile, picked to finish 5th in the ACC, and it's not really a surprise if you've been following, as Aburn gets the slam at the North Carolina game yesterday. Some new faces in the midfield and on defense, but they still have Chris Gray. They're 21-3 with Gray in the lineup. And Kark, the buzz around Notre Dame is this might be Kevin Corrigan's best team in South Bend. And we've seen a little bit of them today.
Yeah, freshman eligibility. This is his first time on a college field. Mentioned he transferred from Yale. He's probably the youngest defender that can make a huge impact in 2022. As we see, Holy Cross and TJ Lynch, Spert's boys, are not letting this game go without getting after a bit, showing some resolve and some fight. And that's Fiorini playing defense. We saw Fiorini with a couple.
For Syracuse, much like 22, is the number on offense.
Yeah, and the 22 class coming to Syracuse, the high school class of 22, you mentioned Carolina, will be tell the version of the Orange team this year that they're coming. The time is now for them to get respect.
Blake
Earlbeck. Yeah. Torrey Pines.
First career goal. Rancho Santa Championship 09. Now, Gary Gate talked to us about how everybody has something to prove. There's only 2 guys on the Syracuse roster who were even in a Syracuse uniform the last time the Orange won a playoff game. That was Kennedy and DiPietro in 17 when Syracuse beat Yale in the first round as Holy Cross tallies its 5th goal.
Year, although they didn't get into the meat of their schedule, they finished the year number 1. And then they brought back all of those guys for an extra year. So the expectations
first round or going to the quarters, it's not enough. What does Quint always say before we do a quarterfinal game? Nobody remembers a quarterfinal loser. Another goal by the Cuse. It's Basil Aburn. That's our good buddy Dan Aburn's cousin. Graham, you get the championship weekend. That team is having reunions. They're remembered forever. Kark at Syracuse. Do they remember championship weekend teams or do they remember champions?
Champions. How about this look by Cone? A little quick little jitterbug foot speed. You get a little spoiled to some extent. I look at what like John Tillman's done with the game changing in the last decade. What has Maryland been to 7 Final Fours? You could argue that is harder than going to 22 straight Final Fours during the years when Syracuse went, because the game.
It's Ferris again. Well, maybe this could be a little sobering. That was Stotts. Jerry Stotts finding Ferris on the wing. So Maryland comes to town. Gary Gate tasked to bring this program back to those glory days. 88 through 90. The Gate teams at Syracuse were as good of a team as you'll find in the history of college lacrosse. They won 3 national titles. He's the greatest player in the history of the sport and the history of the program. And he puts an exclamation on win number 1. 28-5. The final score. The Gary Gate era starts with a win. An opening statement up there with Call Me Ishmael and I Am Born. Biggest home win in school history. The 28 goals, Kark. The most since your freshman year.